Hey guys, Kai is out here helping me. We just pulled the plug out of the bottom of the aircrete chimney. We had a bird fall into the chimney this summer, and so we're having to clear out the mess from the bird. This is the Vevor Chimney Cleaning Kit. Can you tip it a little bit, honey? They sent this to us, and it means you don't have to get up on your roof in order to get your chimney clean. So with our last kit, they had normal looking chimney brushes, and they were specific to the size of your chimney. With these ones, they're kind of universal. You can see that it's more like a weed whacking wire, and so it will fit in any chimney, and it extends out to 18 inches is the circumference of the wires when you're spinning. And you need a drill for this. What happens is that when you connect to the drill, it spins the head so that it whips all the ash and creosote and everything off. And for us, we're dealing with birds, not creosote and ashes. Another thing that was bad on my last cleaning kit was that instead of having lock-ins, they had twist-ons. They had screw-on ends, which meant that if you screwed the wrong way, you were unscrewing your brushes and your rods inside your chimney, and if you did it wrong, you had to retrieve it. These ones, they've changed it so that you have a locking rod. They lock, and it doesn't matter which way you twist them, they're always going to be connected to each other. Oh, they're way bigger too.
Nice.
These are
nice.
nice.
They're nice and thick.
So these are not fiberglass. I don't know what these are made of. Some kind of poly tubing of some kind, but the last one was fiberglass, and after I'd had it for 2 or 3 years, it started to flake off on the rod, and you get fiberglass in your hands. So these are super nice and thick. Okay. Go ahead and join them together, kiddo.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to need more than 4 or 5. But my camera is freezing, and so are my fingers, so go fast. Freezing. It is in the 20s today, which is significantly warmer than it has been, as her bucket collapses on her. So what's happened is that I popped my ankle really good, fell down the stairs because of some ice melt, and so I'm needing major amounts of help from anybody to get anything done. Okay, so what you're going to do is push it with your thumb to make it go in. See how it goes in like that?
Yeah.
You have to push it with your thumb just to get it, and then it can lock.
Oh yeah,
see
that's really nice.
Okay, so these are the heads, and this little silver thing is the attachment you want, because instead of it being a universal, on the last one we had, they had universal joins that just went into your drill. But on this one, because they have the quick release joins, they have an actual... Oh, can you get the dogs, please? Maybe we'll take them in the house. Okay, this is what goes into your drill. See how it has that hex? That's what goes into your drill, and then this is the part that hooks onto the next rod. Okay, so you see it's super simple. And this, there's your little quick release. And now I just have to connect a rod. It's probably a deer.
No.
Okay, see how I can't just push it on? I've got to use my thumb. And just, there we go. Sorry guys, again, I'm a little all right, you see that one has the quick release too. It went on super easy. And you can see that if this is spinning, let's see if I can show it to you spinning outside of the chimney. That's what it does in the chimney. So I start with one rod, and it goes up instead of down. And we use these in the house all the time. And we'll see what we can get knocked down. Okay, so this is really funny. I'm actually using this as more of a push and shove and clear, because what's inside of this is a bird's nest. So what we're doing is just trying to knock a little bit down from the bottom at a time. And you see it's working just like a normal chimney brush. Go ahead and look.
Yay! Oh, it's pretty.
And we got about a bale of hay out of this, I promise. So let's see if you can see the top.
There's like a full-fledged
It's nice and
too.
clean. So we're going to put the bottom plug back in and we're going to start the fire. All right, this is the plug that Darwin made. It is 1 inch of wood at the bottom and then 4 inches of aircrete plug. We didn't remember how he put it in. We've never had to clean the chimney. And if it wasn't for those stupid birds, lovely birds, if it wasn't for those lovely birds, we wouldn't have had to clean it this time. There was no creosote or anything in the chimney. So we had to clean it because of the birds, not because of the stove. All right, so yeah, do you want to come just push on it and see if you can wiggle it in? Yeah, it goes in like a charm. 13-year-old totally fixed the stove. We just have to remember that Darwin put a plug in it. I started like taking screws out. I started breaking caulk off. And Kaya just put it back together, no problem.
Yeah, I'll just get a hammer to get that last in.
No, it's in. That's where it's supposed to sit.
Oh,
yeah, that's
okay.
exactly where it's supposed to sit.
Oh, sweet.
So the plug is back in. We can go start the stove. Okay, this is my beautiful stove in my beautiful little cabin. And I need to move some things around. I might want to move the oven so that it's not on because it will hold heat in rather than letting it into the room. It is an insulated oven made of aircrete. And it's okay for me to leave the fabric there because that part doesn't get hot, but I need to pull it away from the downdraft. And this is helpful to put in. And the handle is in the correct position, so I'm just going to go ahead and start a fire.
Sorry, I couldn't see the timer.
I don't remember where our scoop is. Do you know where our scoop is?
Is it in the corner behind the door?
I don't know.
Might be out in that blue bin. I don't know if you want me to move or not.
It's cold out here. Okay, so the chimney direction is up the chimney instead of through the bench. You have to wait for your bench until after your chimney is nice and warm. Okay, it's starting to go backwards, and I have some really good lathe in here that burns really nicely. And you can hear it starting to roar already.
There was that little match.
Yeah, well, 7 little matches.
Oh, did you put all of them in there?
Everything I couldn't get to strike right, yeah.
Yeah. My thumbs are freezing.
I know.
You're showing them your gruesome cut.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah. Alright, so you guys saw how quickly it turned on. I'm going to go ahead and close this because it doesn't need to be open.
That was 3 minutes total, and it's to the point where it's not going to go out as long as you don't do something really stupid like put dirt on it.
Yeah, don't put dirt on it.
Yeah.
So there we go. It's going to take half a second for everything to start fluing perfectly. And I want to take the oven door off so that we get some heat into the room.
My thumbs are frozen at this point. Should I show you?
Show this. So I'm just going to take the door off. And that way the heat can come into the room. If I leave the oven on and I leave the door open, then I still get heat. If I leave the door on, all the heat stays inside the oven.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put my fan on.
This is the oven that they made the cookies and bread in.
Yeah. We're going to put the fan on. I'm probably going to tear that up so we have it for next time. All right, go ahead and pause it. We're sitting here waiting for the stove to heat things up because it is an aircrete stove and an insulated chimney. you have to come out and light the stove about an hour before you intend to be warm. That's just how an insulated, if you had soapstone on this or granite on it, it would be the same thing, because your mass is going to absorb the heat before the air can absorb the heat. And so even though the stove is roaring, it's warming the chimney up, it's warming the aircrete in the stove up, it's warming the aircrete in the oven up before it warms up the air. So that's one thing to know. The heat from a rocket stove and a bench, which is what Kai is sitting on, it lasts for hours and hours and hours once it's heated up. But in the beginning, it takes a little bit of time for it to get the air heated up. Again,
It's warmer in here. She didn't notice.
yeah, the fan started running. How long have we been in here? 15 minutes? Not quite 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I just put the first big piece in. I guess I could show it to you guys. Do you want to go get some wood?
I mean, I could. I wanted to. I could.
I think we're probably warm enough that we could deflect it to the bench, but I don't really want to. Is that the dog wanting to come in? Okay, I just put our first big piece of wood in. And it's too close to the door. That's why I had that little bit of, so I'm going to push it back a little bit. And that'll work better. You don't want to have your piece of wood too close to the door. You want it towards the back so that it can flue correctly. That, and I also didn't fully clean out the back very well. I may have pushed some ash up into the back a little bit. But there we go. We're cruising. Should we go get some wood? Woohoo! How'd you sleep, princess?
Really good.
Me
How
too.
about you?
Yep, pretty good.
Oh, it's really nice.
You should try the bench.
Yeah.
Flash. Okay, so this is the one I slept on last night. This one has the pebbles. And it's the one that's warm. It's like you're sleeping on an electric blanket.
It's
the pebbles. It's the mass.
yes, it's the mass.
It's very warm. Oof. The fan is still going. I put a log in about 2 or 3 hours ago. I will put another one in just so that I can come in and out of the cabin today as I want to. I need to tidy up the cabin. It hasn't been lived in since 2020. And so I need to come out and get everything tidied back up again. That's where the actual bedroom is. We've just been storing mattresses and stuff out here. That's the actual bed. Kai and I started sleeping up there last night. But the last time I put a log in, it got too warm.
Yeah, you don't need to keep putting logs in. It was just to make sure it stayed warm.
Yeah, I didn't need to put more logs in order for the house to be warm. I just wanted there to be some coals left in the morning. And one of those times when I put a log in, it got really hot. And so we came down here to sleep. So, it would have been way too hot upstairs if we didn't have the oven on the top and if we didn't have it in the bench. So it kind of buffers the temperature a little bit. Hey guys, so it is 11 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It was 0 degrees last night. I don't know what the high for today is supposed to be, but I'm going out to the cabin to check it. So we did get a couple inches of snow last night. The last log that I put in yesterday was at 3:30. I put 1/4 of a log, so pretty much a glorified stick, in the stove yesterday at 3:30. I did not go back out again to the cabin until 5:30 this morning, so it's 14 hours. And the cabin was warm. It was in the 60s. And I put 1 more quarter in, which is just a glorified stick. It's about 3 inches across. And relit the stove. The stove itself was still hot in the back. So the aerated concrete part was still hot after 14 hours. And again, this cabin is off-grid. No water, no power, no sewer. You have to use an outhouse with this particular one. Sorry, it's so bumpy, guys. We've got hard pack underneath fresh snow. So, there's the chimney. To knock that off. All right. So again, I came out at 5:30, restarted the stove. We'll see how it's doing. In. I like to sit out here and just stare out the window. It's very calming. There's the other window. If you want to be able to see anything out here, I've got to light the candles, and even then it doesn't necessarily light enough that you can take a video, but there we go. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I kept bringing more and more and more wood in, thinking that, you know, I would need it. And I haven't needed it, so I need to get all this kind of organized a little better. The trick with the rocket stove is that in a small space like this, you really need a mass, because instead of it cooking you out, you get slow release heat and it stays really comfortable. If you had a really big house, what you'd want is an unexposed chimney that ran up through a vaulted ceiling through the middle of your house in order to harvest all that heat into the air itself. Again, in a cabin, you need a bench, because you need it not to fry you out. So this bench took about 12 hours to heat up. And then once I had it heated up, instead of having to put a log in about once an hour, I was putting a log in about once every 3 hours. And now it was 14 hours from when I put the last log in last night and when I put it in the first thing this morning. So it was 14 hours. Cabin was still warm. Cabin is still very comfortable. I wouldn't call it toasty, but it's still comfortable. And now I've got the stove going again, so I'm gonna make sure everything heats back up. And I'm just doing some trial runs with it, because previously when I've used it in the past, we were running it in the fall, not in the dead of winter. So again, outside it is 11 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It did get down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit last night. And I haven't tested the bench yet. I do like to test the bench when I come in. I don't always remember. A lot of what we have out here is just storage stuff from the Airbnb. So that's why there's mattresses everywhere. But I'm going to lift up the bench. Oh, the bench is still in the 70s, so it never cooled down last night. There's the little heat fan. And there's my little chair that I sit in. So this, I didn't clean out the ashes the last time I used it. And this is from 3 days of burn. And we were burning really dirty wood as far as that goes. Plus, it was half full of ashes when I came out to light it, but I didn't have my scoop out here, and so I just lit it on a bed of ashes. So these are ashes from the last time we lit it, which was like a year ago, plus just a few ashes from the last 3 days. So That's how many ashes there were.
I'm Paul Wheaton, and this is my 13th Kickstarter. Because I'm keen on low-tech stuff, I've hosted a permaculture technology jamboree for several years now. Usually about a dozen instructors leading a bunch of builds showing off their expertise. One fella felt you needed to see this stuff, so he took a bunch of video with the idea that we might make a movie.
Paul was like, hey, you want to come out to the PTJ and teach mushroom insulation? Yes, of course I want to do that.
Developing communities centered around food preservation, food sharing.
I want to see if there can be a low smoke, low fuel wood kiln.
A lot of the way that the infrastructure of civilization is put together is highly destructive. You can't do that forever.
We need more people who feel confident in their ability to build something out of nothing.
So it outperforms the conventional standard materials, completely fire resistant. Do you want me to show you the propane thing?
This is Pepper the goat. If you get to really be with them, then you see how easy it is.
I have hugels at my property that we have not watered in 5 years. We have all kinds of things growing.
How to fell a tree, size the tree properly, how to lay out a saddle notch and cut a saddle notch.
He started with a system that worked up to providing like 400 gallons of really beautiful water every day.
Sourdough granola, the lime pickled eggs, strawberry rhubarb jam, garlic dill pickles, our kombucha, escabeche, kimchi.
The rocket heaters have set aside for me a major impediment to happiness.
It had to be possible, and it totally is.
We've already, in the first firing, done things that are almost impossible in a wood-fired kiln.
Here, everybody's kind of on the same page, and so you can go farther with the conversation.
Figuring out how to make the infrastructure of civilization actually regenerative.
You get to build things that are beautiful. You get to advance methods, techniques, and schools of thought that make the world a better place, that make the broken things heal a little more, and I think it makes a big difference.
So here we are trying to make a movie. And this is the Kickstarter question. Do enough people want a movie to justify the costs of making a movie?